The shock in the classroom. Ziri sat quietly in her seat. Her long blue fingers trembled slightly. It was her first day back at the Galactic Biology University after her year-long study mission to Earth. The classroom was full of students from all over the galaxy, some with scales, some with fur, and others with glowing skin. They were all waiting for Ziri to speak. The teacher, Professor Entha, smiled and said, "Ziri, please share your final report. Tell the class what you learned from the humans." Ziri stood slowly. Her voice was soft at first, but it grew stronger as she spoke. Humans are very different. They are not like any other species in the galaxy. But there is one thing I discovered that shocked me more than anything else. The room fell silent. Ziri took a deep breath. Human males are always fertile. They do not have a mating season. Their bodies are ready to reproduce at all times, every day, every month, every year. Gasps filled the room. A student from the Mirkan species dropped his water flask. Another from the Flari clan whispered, "That's not possible." Even the professor looked confused. "Are you sure, Ziri? That goes against every reproductive law we know." Ziri nodded firmly. "I checked again and again."
I saw it in their medical records. I asked human doctors. I watched the signs myself. It is true. Human males can make offspring any time. They do not need a special time or cycle. The class broke into loud chatter. Some students laughed. Some
looked afraid. Others argued. One said, "If this is real, it could change everything." Another added, "No species can survive like that. They would overpopulate." Ziri stayed calm. She opened her data pad and showed pictures, charts, and proof. Slowly, the noise began to die down. The students started to listen again. Professor Entha walked closer to the screen and looked at the data. Her face turned serious. "This is not a joke. These results are real. I recognize these medical files. They came from Earth's own science labs." Ziri continued. "And there's more. Human females are also different. They do not wait for a season either. They have cycles, yes, but not like us. They can reproduce many times in a single year. Together, humans have a very high chance of creating life." The professor's face went pale. "This means their population could grow faster than any known species." One of the older students raised his hand. "Why does this matter? Earth is just one small planet. Why care?" Professor Entha turned to him and said, "Because this could be why their people survived wars, disasters, and disease. They always had more children, more fighters, more workers. This makes them powerful." Another student stood up. "What if someone uses this? What if other empires try to breed with them?" The room went quiet again. Ziri looked down. "That is already happening. I met a group of rich aliens on Earth. They were trying to pay humans to give them children. Some humans agreed. Some were taken. I tried to stop them, but I was just one student." Professor Entha's voice shook. "Did you report this to the Galactic Council?" Ziri nodded. "I sent a message. I have not heard back." The class looked around, now unsure if they felt fear or respect for humans. Their species was not the strongest, not the most advanced, not the oldest. But they were something new, something dangerous. One student whispered, "If they are always fertile, they could become a galactic threat." Another replied, "Or a galactic treasure." Far above the university, in the cold stars of space, a secret message was sent to a group of unknown ships. "The girl has confirmed it. Earth males are active all year. Begin the operation. Bring one back, alive." Back in the classroom, Ziri sat down again. She felt a storm coming. She had told the truth. But now she had made Earth a target. And Jack, the human she had secretly studied, was in danger. She only hoped she could protect him before it was too late. The hunt begins far from the quiet halls of the university. The message spread quickly. Through space. On hidden channels, secret networks lit up. Across planets and stations, powerful leaders read the same words. Human males are always fertile. One confirmed. Begin extraction. Within hours, several alien ships changed course. Their new destination, Earth Ziri sat in her small room at the university staring at her communicator. No reply from the Galactic Council, no warning sent to Earth. She had told the truth, but now that truth was spreading like fire. And she knew what came next. Not study, not research, but capture. Ziri had seen it before. When a new species showed, something rare or useful, it never ended well. Some aliens would try to trade, others would lie, and some would simply take what they wanted. Ziri knew she didn't have much time. On Earth, Jack was finishing his workday at the auto garage. He was just a mechanic, strong arms, sharp hands, kind heart. He didn't know anything about alien councils or space biology. His biggest worry was whether the old engine he fixed would run for another month. He didn't know that dozens of alien eyes were now watching him from orbit. A small drone flew overhead. Jack didn't see it. It was no bigger than a bug. It recorded. His face scanned his body, measured his heat. It sent the data back to a black ship hiding behind Earth's moon. On board, Commander Trebek of the Velari Empire smiled. This is the one. Perfect health. Excellent build. Age prime. Prepare. The pods. Back on the ground, Ziri arrived in disguise. She wore Earth clothes and a simple translator around her neck. She had no weapons, only warnings. She walked into Jack's workshop just as he wiped his hands on a cloth. He looked up, surprised. "Can I help you?" Ziri tried to smile. "Yes, I'm a student. I'm here to study your machines." Jack laughed. "Well, they're not pretty, but sure. Come on in." Ziri felt a wave of guilt. She was lying, yes, but she had no choice. She had to get close. She had to keep him safe. She didn't know when the other teams would arrive, but they were coming. That much she was sure of. She watched him work. He was fast, skilled, and full of quiet focus. Not a warrior, not a genius, just human. But for aliens out there, that was enough. Jack offered her a bottle of water. "So where you from?" he asked. Ziri paused. "Far. Very far. You wouldn't know it." Jack raised an eyebrow. "Try me." Before she could answer, her scanner blinked. She looked at it quickly. Multiple life forms detected. Unknown species. Location 12 miles west, moving fast. Her heart dropped. She forced a calm voice. "Jack, do you believe in aliens?" He laughed. "Sure, movies, books, you know. But real ones? Nah." Ziri stepped closer. "You need to listen. You're in danger, real danger." Jack's smile faded. "Wait, what?" She looked straight into his eyes. "I don't have time to explain everything, but some aliens found out something about your kind, about human males. Now they're coming. For you." Jack took a step back. "Are you messing with me?" Ziri shook her head. "No, please, I'm trying to protect you. I came back because of you." Suddenly, the building shook slightly. A sound like thunder rolled outside. Jack ran to the window. In the distance, something was landing, huge, silent, and not from Earth. Ziri's voice was low. "They're here." Jack turned. His face was pale. "What do they want from me?" Ziri looked down. "Your body, your genes, your ability to create life without limits." Jack stared at her. "That's insane." Ziri whispered, "It doesn't matter if it's insane, it's real. And now they'll stop at nothing." Outside, the first alien scout stepped out of the ship. Tall, armored, and holding a capture beam. Inside, Jack and Ziri looked at each other. One was hunted. One was trying to save him, and above them in the shadows of space more ships arrived, each carrying a mission to take one human male, no matter the cost. Contact and capture attempt. They came in silence. No loud explosions. No lasers. Just shadows moving in the sky. Dark shapes that did not belong to Earth. The people below thought they were secret military planes or strange weather. But Ziri knew better. Jack didn't sleep that night. He stared out the window, replaying every word Ziri had said. Aliens, fertility, abduction. It all sounded crazy, until he saw the news the next morning. Strange lights over the forest, cattle missing from farms, cell towers blacked out. A small town nearby had gone completely dark, no explanation. Jack looked at Ziri. She wasn't surprised. She already knew. "They're getting closer," she said softly. Jack asked, "Why me? Out of all people?" Ziri replied, "Because you're healthy, you're young, and you have something alien science has never seen before: endless fertility." Jack shook his head. "But I'm just a guy, a normal guy." Ziri answered, "To them, you're not normal. You're rare. You're valuable. You're a living resource." Later that day, Jack went to his garage like always. He needed to keep his mind busy. But something felt off. The air was too still, the streets too quiet. Then, he saw the woman. She was standing across the road wearing human clothes, holding a phone to her ear. But her skin was too perfect. Her eyes didn't blink, and she didn't move, just watched him. Jack stepped inside and shut the door fast. "I think they've found me." Ziri was already packing. "They're not just watching anymore, they're coming." As night fell, the power cut out across the block. No phones, no lights, just darkness. Jack grabbed a wrench. "I'm not going without a fight." Suddenly, the wall exploded inward. A silver sphere rolled across the floor, letting out a quiet hiss. Jack coughed and dropped the wrench. The air felt heavy. His arms grew weak. Ziri pulled a device from her bag and slammed it to the ground. A blue shield burst up around them. The smoke stopped. The air cleared. Two tall beings stepped through the broken wall. Long limbs, black armor, glowing, green visors. They didn't speak. They moved like machines, fast and cold. One reached for Jack, but Ziri screamed, "He is not yours." She pulled out a light rod and slammed it against the alien's chest. Sparks flew. The alien stumbled backward. Jack, half dizzy, pushed himself up. His mind was foggy, but he saw Ziri fighting, dodging beams, shouting warnings. He grabbed the wrench again and struck the second alien across the helmet. The alien turned and hissed, surprised by the hit. Jack struck again, harder this time. Ziri pulled Jack toward the back exit. "We have to run." They escaped into the alley behind the building. Ziri tapped her wristband. A small pod uncloaked nearby, a one-person craft, now modified for two. As they climbed in, Jack said, "I thought you were just a student." Ziri replied, "I was, but now I'm your only chance." The pod blasted into the sky, dodging a beam from the aliens behind. They flew higher and faster beyond the clouds toward the edge of Earth's orbit. Jack looked down at his planet. "So this is real, all of it." Ziri nodded. "Yes, and this is only the beginning." Suddenly, a message came through the ship's system. "Target failed to capture. Repeat, human male escaped. All units, prepare for pursuit." Ziri's face went pale. "They won't stop." Jack looked at her. "Then what do we do?" Ziri answered quietly, "We make sure the galaxy. No, humans are not weak, and you, Jack, you are not alone." Behind them, more ships started to rise from Earth's shadows. The hunt had begun. The truth about human biology. Jack sat inside the small ship, staring into the stars. His heart still pounded from the escape. Earth was now far below them. The planet looked peaceful from up here, but Jack knew it wasn't. Not anymore. He turned to Ziri. "You said they want my body, my biology. I need to know why." Ziri didn't answer right away. She tapped on the console and sent the ship into silent mode. Then she looked at him, serious and calm. "Humans are strange," she said. "Not just your behavior, but your bodies. Most species in the galaxy have limits. Limits on how often they can reproduce. Limits on when. But you, especially your males, you don't stop." Jack raised an eyebrow. "You make it sound like a problem." Ziri replied, "It's not a problem. It's a mystery, a gift, or maybe a weapon." Jack frowned. "A weapon? Ziri nodded. There are species out there that are dying. Their numbers are shrinking. Wars, sickness, infertility. They want to survive. They look at you, and they see an answer. If they can mix their DNA with yours, they believe they can save their kind. Jack shook his head. So, they want to use me like a machine. Ziri looked away. Some of them don't see humans as people. They see you as tools, as resources. Jack stood up. That's not survival, that's slavery. Ziri agreed. I know. That's why I came back for you. Jack's eyes narrowed. How do you know so much about this? Ziri hesitated. Because I was part of the research. Jack stepped back. What? I never meant to hurt anyone, she said quickly. I came to Earth to study. I followed the rules. I made reports. But the data I collected, it was too shocking, too important. It spread fast. I lost control of it. I didn't know they'd act this quickly. Jack's voice was low. So, all this time, you were watching me. Ziri nodded. At first, yes, but then I saw who you really were. Not just your biology, your kindness, your courage. The way you helped people without wanting anything back. I realized you were more than data. Jack sat back down. He was silent for a moment. Then he asked, So what now? You're telling me the galaxy is full of species who think I'm some kind of miracle breeder? Yes, Ziri said. And now they're fighting over you. Jack looked out the window. This is insane. But Ziri continued. That's not all. There's something else. Something buried deep in old galactic records. Something most species forgot long ago. Ancient documents. They speak of a time when humans were everywhere. Jack looked confused. You mean in space? Ziri nodded. Yes, the records are broken and hard to read. But they say humans once traveled between stars. They say humans fought great wars and then vanished. Jack blinked. So, we've been here before? Ziri whispered. Maybe. Or maybe your people were made for something bigger. And you forgot. Silence filled the ship. Then the alarm blared. Ziri jumped to the controls. Ship approaching fast. No ID. No signal. Jack stood beside her. They found us again? Ziri's fingers flew across the buttons. Yes, and this time, it's not a scout. It's a warship. The screen showed a large ship blocking their path. Its weapons were charged. Its shields were strong. A message flashed on their screen. Surrender the human. You have no right to keep a galactic asset. Jack's jaw clenched. I'm not an asset, I'm a person. Ziri looked at him. Then it's time to fight like one. The truth was out now. Jack knew who he was, why they wanted him, and what he had to do. Not run, not hide, but fight back. We're over one. Human, the stars weren't quiet anymore, where there had once been silence. And distance between worlds, now there was noise. Warships, alarms, signals, and warnings. All for one reason. One human. One male. One name. Jack. The Violari warship hovered in front of Ziri's small craft like a giant beast ready to strike. Its message echoed again. Surrender the human male or be destroyed. Inside the tiny cockpit, Jack clenched his fists. He still didn't understand why the galaxy was going to war over him. He didn't feel special. He didn't feel strong. He felt hunted. Ziri stood in front of him. She didn't move. Her eyes were calm, but firm. I won't give you to them, she said, even if it cost me everything. Jack looked at her. Why would you risk that for me? Ziri answered, because this isn't about science anymore. This is about freedom. Suddenly, another ship jumped out of hyperspace, sleek, gold, and covered in royal symbols. Ziri gasped. That's the Corellian Royal Fleet. Jack raised an eyebrow. Friends of yours? She shook her head. Worse. They're desperate. Their queens can't bear children anymore. They'll do anything for a fertile male. even start a war. A second message came in, this time from the golden ship. He is ours by ancient claim. Step aside or face Corellian justice. Jack stared at the screen. They're fighting over me like I'm some kind of prize. Ziri nodded. To them, you are. They think if they control you, they control the future. And then a third signal arrived. This time, it wasn't a threat. It was a warning. All ships in orbit. Earth Defense Protocol is now active. Leave or be fired upon. Jack's eyes widened. Wait. Earth has defense protocols? Ziri looked surprised too. No one thought Earth was ready for war. But then, several hidden satellites around the planet lit up. Energy beams charged. Defense turrets rose from the oceans. A voice came from Earth's command center. This is Earth. The human male is under our protection. You come for one. You face us all. The Vailari warship responded with fire. Bright blue beams shot across space. Ziri's ship dodged quickly, but Jack could see the battle beginning. More ships jumped into orbit, some to fight, some to defend, others just to watch, and in the middle of all that chaos was him. Jack felt anger growing inside him, not fear. Anger that he had been treated like a tool, anger that they didn't care who he was, only what he could do. Ziri handed him a small device. This is a control link. It connects to your biology. Use it. Jack grabbed it. What does it do? She replied, it sends a signal, one that only humans can send, something your people left behind long ago. Jack pressed the button. Nothing happened at first. Then, the stars changed. A pulse went out. A deep, invisible sound only ancient machines could hear. And they responded. From beyond the asteroid belt, old ships woke up. Human ships, long forgotten, hidden by dust and silence. Now they came alive again. Ziri stared at the radar. Jack, what did you just wake up? Jack didn't know, but deep in his bones it felt right. Suddenly, one of the ancient human ships appeared near them. It looked old, but its weapons were bright. Its engines roared. Its message was clear. Human signal confirmed, preparing to engage all hostile targets. The alien fleets panicked. No one knew where these ships came from. They didn't match modern records. But they fought like monsters, fast, precise, deadly. Within minutes, the Vailari and Corellian fleets were in retreat. Ziri smiled. I guess you weren't just any human after all. Jack watched as alien ships ran from Earth's orbit. He felt something new rising in his chest. Not confusion, not fear, but pride. He turned to Ziri. They wanted to use me. She nodded. But now they'll think twice. And for the first time, the galaxy began to fear what they didn't understand. Not just Earth, not just humans, but the simple truth. You don't mess with a species that never needed a season to survive. The escape to the stars. The stars had seen war before, but never because of a single man. Now, the galaxy whispered his name. Some called him a threat. Others called him a treasure. But to Jack, he was still just a man caught in a storm he never asked for. After the battle in Earth's orbit, Ziri's ship flew deep into unmarked space. No maps, no signals, no patrols, just silence. That was the plan. Disappear before anyone else came looking. Jack sat beside her, still trying to understand everything. He had been a mechanic, a normal guy. Now he was the reason empires were fighting. How many more are going to come after me? Jack asked quietly. Ziri didn't answer at first. She stared ahead, watching the endless black stretch in front of them. Too many, she said at last. But we're not going to let them win. Jack looked at her. You keep saying we. But I'm not a soldier. I'm not even brave. You saved me every time. Ziri turned to him. You don't have to be a soldier to matter. Sometimes surviving is the bravest thing. The ship shook slightly. They had entered a gravitational wave. Ahead was a large station, forgotten by most, buried in old records. Ziri had found it years ago during her studies. It was built by a lost race, observers who recorded everything but never interfered. They landed quietly. Inside, the walls glowed with strange light. The station held massive libraries, not books but memory crystals, stories of war, peace, and species long gone. It was here, Ziri believed, that they could learn the full truth about humans. Jack followed her through the quiet halls. "Why are we here?" Ziri stopped and touched a panel. It lit up, scanning Jack's face. The wall opened. Inside was a room filled with golden light and strange symbols, some that Jack couldn't read, but others looked familiar. Ziri whispered, "This station is 10,000 years old, built by a race called the Sorinth. They watched every species rise and fall, including yours." Jack stepped forward. The crystals glowed brighter as he approached. One floated into the air, spinning slowly. A voice came from it, calm, deep, and old. Human genetic signature confirmed. "Welcome, descendant of the first flame." Jack froze. "First flame?" Ziri looked at him, eyes wide. "It's a legend, a story told in the stars, about a race that was born from chaos, who spread across galaxies, who created life and destroyed it. They were called the first flame. But no one believed they were real." The voice continued. "Humans were seeded across worlds, not weak, not accidental. Chosen, built to survive anything. Pain, war, time. And unlike others, their flame never needed to rest. It burned, always." Jack's breath caught. All his life he thought humanity was small, just one planet among many. But here, in the quiet of forgotten space, he learned the truth. Humans were made to last. Ziri stepped closer. "This is why you don't have a mating season. Why your kind keeps growing while others fade. You were designed to keep the flame alive." Jack whispered. "Then why did we forget?" Ziri looked sad. "Maybe because others made you forget. Maybe they feared what you could become." Suddenly, the station lights dimmed. A warning flashed across the panels. Unidentified vessel approaching. Cloaked. Estimated arrival, 3 minutes. Jack turned. "They found us again?" Ziri ran to the console. "It's not just any ship, this one's different. It's not part of any empire. No ID, no signal. Just silent." Jack looked at the floating crystal. The voice spoke one last time. "If you survive, remember who you are. The galaxy will not forgive, but it will remember." Ziri grabbed Jack's hand. "We have to leave now." They rushed back to the ship. As they launched into space, a dark vessel came into view, twice their size, blacker than the void around it. Jack stared at it. "That doesn't look like someone trying to talk." Ziri nodded. "It looks like someone trying to end this, before the truth spreads." Behind them, the memory station shut down, its lights fading into darkness, but the knowledge was now alive inside Jack, and no matter what chased them, one thing had changed. Jack no longer ran just to survive. He ran to protect something ancient, powerful, and dangerous, the truth of what humans really are. Humanity's answer. The ship was quiet, but not peaceful. Jack sat in the co-pilot seat, staring at the dark vessel chasing them through deep space. No name, no lights, no voice. Just a silent shadow, one that moved like it had purpose, like it had history, like it had hunted before. Ziri checked the scanners again. Still no ID, no pattern. It's not with the Council, the Empires, or even the smugglers. Jack asked, "Then who is it?" Ziri's voice dropped. "Maybe the ones who erased your past." Jack leaned back. "Then maybe it's time they met what they tried to erase." That was the moment Jack made his choice. No more running, no more hiding, no more being a prize. He was human, and it was time to act like it. Jack tapped into the ship's command system and opened the hidden Earth signal he had used earlier, the same one that awakened the ancient fleet. But this time, he didn't just call them, he led them. His voice went out through the pulse. To any ship that remembers the first flame, this is Jack, one of you. I have proof. I have knowledge. And I'm not alone. Come now. Stand with us. At first, there was only silence. Then, they came not many but enough old ships, burned hulls, rusted wings, engines from forgotten wars. But their cores were alive, their minds connected. They responded to the signal like birds to firelight. Ziri stared at the screen. They're answering you, Jack said. Because I'm not just one man anymore, I'm their memory. The dark ship sent one last message, final warning, surrender or be destroyed. Jack replied, you should have destroyed us when we were weak. But you waited. Now we remember. The battle began. The sky lit up, not with fancy new weapons, but with the fury of old machines that had been quiet for too long. Jack's allies didn't just fight, they roared. These weren't cold ships with smooth armor. These were vessels with scars. Ships that had survived the last time humans were at war with the galaxy. Ziri joined the fight. She wasn't a warrior, but she was determined. She moved beside Jack, her hands fast on the controls, guiding, shielding, supporting. The dark vessel tried everything: cloaks, EMPs, warp drives. But Jack's fleet knew its tricks. They had seen them before, thousands of years ago. Piece by piece, the enemy ship broke down. Jack stood up and sent one last message. Tell your masters, the human race is not for sale, not for breeding, not for capture. We are not a resource. We are a force. The enemy ship turned and jumped into deep space, wounded, running. It didn't matter where it went. The galaxy had heard the message. Jack turned to Ziri. Do you think they'll come again? Ziri said, yes, but next time, they'll be more careful. Jack looked out the window. The stars didn't seem so cold anymore. Ziri added softly, you didn't just protect yourself. You woke something bigger. You made them remember. Jack smiled. Good. Because we've been quiet too long. She reached for his hand. So what now? Jack said, now we find the others. Humans like me. The ones lost. The ones hiding. And we tell them the truth. The ship flew on, past borders, past rules, past fear, because Jack was no longer just a man, he was a spark, and humanity was burning back into the stars.